Welcome to Husky Radio, episode 9.
Episode 9. I'm sorry.
Episode 9.
Episode 9.
Yeah, 9.
What are we talking about tonight?
I don't know. Nothing really has happened in Destiny
No.
that I'm aware of.
No. Well, we all play on 360, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
360 only.
And PS3.
Uh-huh.
I'm playing on PC, of course.
Naturally.
Yeah.
I'm playing on the Magnavox Odyssey 2.
It's a fantastic game.
You're good.
No, we have to talk about Destiny this week.
Yes.
So many things.
Rise of Iron. Oh.
That was beautiful.
This is episode 9, The Rise of Nine-Iron.
Niner.
No,
Rise of
Nine-Iron.
Niner.
Yeah.
9-iron.
Yeah.
It's a golf
Nine-iron.
game.
It's the Nine-Iron,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm playing golf.
We're going to talk about all things. If you listen to this podcast and you don't play Destiny, which I really don't know how that's possible unless you work with one of us or something and we told you about it, you're really going to want to turn this one off.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be
It's all,
interesting at all.
that's all we're talking about this week.
Yeah,
That's it.
all Destiny, all the time, always.
Yeah. Well, we do have kind of some plans, I think.
Oh,
We're
we
really
have
talking.
plans.
Ooh.
What? Wow.
Oh, it popped.
All right.
We're going to talk about Rise of Iron just in general. And what we've liked, what we've disliked. I think we'll talk a little bit about the raid. So we'll alert you for spoilers for that.
We'll give you our pro strategies.
Pro strats.
Yeah.
We're the best.
Clearly.
And then we do have, with new exotics, we're going to talk a little bit about the new exotics and potentially, if we have time, talk about some of our dream exotics that we wish would come to the game.
Dream exotic. Make your own exotic. Yeah.
Yeah, make your own exotic. Yeah.
That's what we did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, rocket launcher hand cannon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sword
that's
hand
it.
cannon.
Sword hand cannon.
Yeah.
Everything.
Fusion rifle hand cannon.
Yeah.
Helmet hand cannon.
Ooh, I like that.
Ooh, helmet
See,
hand cannon.
I have
Whoa.
good ideas occasionally.
That's great. Sparrow hand cannon.
Yes.
Ride your hand cannon.
That was my exotic, is a sparrow with guns. That, you know what? Thanks for ruining that
That would
surprise.
actually- that
Darn
would be
it.
cool.
I
if
know,
it was
That would be
that.
That'd
sweet.
be pretty great.
I think they're called pikes.
Yeah.
Shut up.
You know.
Initial thoughts. What have we felt with Rise of Iron? That's all I've got. I've got 2 questions.
Right.
What are we thinking about Rise of Iron, and what'd you guys think of the raid? That's all I have.
Well, there's plenty to say about both.
There is plenty to say. Rise of Iron is good. It's really fun. I've played a frick ton of Rise of Iron in the past week.
Yes, I can say the same thing. I think the first day, we all got on right when it launched. Some of us got into the game a little sooner than others because I didn't have to wait in line as long as everybody else. I don't know what that.
That was a nice mechanic, you know.
That was cool. I wish every game would drop with a server queue.
Well, you used to have
fantastic.
to go to the GameStop, midnight to stand in line for the game. They just wanted to bring that
They're
experience.
bringing it back.
Naturally.
Nostalgia trip.
That was.
It did remind me of playing The Division, where opening, first week, you had to queue for a server all the time. It was awful.
I've never experienced anything like it because I did not play The Division. But yeah,
missing
it
out.
was fun for me because I got in before everybody else. But we woke up at like 4 a.m. to play.
Yeah, and then
I didn't stop playing the first night until at least midnight. So it was just literally 20 hours straight of playing Rise of Iron.
Jesus.
It was pretty brutal, but it was worth it. I would say that the campaign was pretty short.
It is short.
Yeah.
Not my favorite campaign. I really liked the Taken King campaign.
See, I agree, and I feel like a lot of people have said Rise of Iron is like their favorite one story-wise, which I guess I get that.
I don't know.
I think that would be. I think I told someone that just today, that I liked the story of Rise of Iron best, but it did feel short.
I get it because it has more of an emotional like payoff in the story with you having to fight like the Iron Lords that you watch the opening cinematic and see them get taken over by the Siva, and then you have to fight them in the end. So I get that, but in terms of actual quality of gameplay, I like the Taken King one better. There's more missions and they were more varied in what you did.
Yeah.
I felt like.
And I'm personally, I like stories that are more like grandiose, where it's like Oryx was going to destroy the whole galaxy kind of thing and we had to stop him. And this is like Siva was like, it's there and it might infect the city, so we better stop it before it does.
Yeah, just kind of like Siva just like shows up out of nowhere without really having a lot of mention beforehand.
Which is fine. Like, I enjoyed it, but it just, I prefer feeling like I have to destroy like some god, you know.
As someone who plays with the sound off always and doesn't follow the story virtually at all, it doesn't matter that much to me. So
yeah. Well, and that would be one of my big loves about this update is the music. There's a new music. There are new sounds. There's a new social area and things to explore there. I thought that was really cool. I think everything. I haven't found anything yet that is something like little that they added, like a social thing that I thought, wow, that's dumb, or I don't like that. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough yet. But I love the updated music. I love all the music actually for Rise of Iron. Sepix Perfected just blows my mind.
Especially the Sepix Perfected.
Oh my goodness. Misha from Periphery, or Bulb as he's known on the internet, he remade the Sepix Prime song a couple years ago, and they put it in this game, and I just think it sounds amazing. And when you destroy him, just these double bass blast beats go off, and it's just like, wow, that was a BA song.
Yeah.
I loved it. And so it felt really cool that you not only remix the strike, but you remix the music with it as well. It was cool. Little things like that. There were a lot of little things that kind of take you back. Replaying that mission in particular, I think has been a lot of fun.
I think the Plague Lands are pretty cool. Generally, they seem bigger than the patrol areas that we've had before.
They're really open and big feeling, but I don't know if they feel like there's that much more to do in them than the other ones.
I'd agree with that, but I do appreciate that it's like a higher light activity, and like that the public events are more intense, and like it's a cool feeling. It doesn't feel like you're just going down to like normal Cosmodrome where you're invincible kind of thing.
I've also noticed more public events, and I think that's really cool. I was running just patrols for bounties yesterday, and I was hopping from normal Cosmodrome to Mars to Venus, and got more. I think I got a public event on each planet, which was really cool, because I feel like you used to just have to sit and wait until hopefully one would drop or be, checking.
And you get awesome rewards from the public events too. I mean, each character you do it on, you can get 15 marks and a guaranteed legendary Ingram. That's awesome. On any patrol, on any planet. So there's 45 marks for you every day.
They brought them back. I mean, they make them feel important, and I think that works. It kind of creates more of that atmosphere that the planets are actually in danger, and they're being invaded on kind of a regular basis. But yeah, the Plague Lands, I was thinking about that as well. It feels open, like you're running around and it feels bigger. And there are times when I've gotten lost without a map.
I get lost because of how foggy it is. I can't tell where I'm going sometimes.
It's very foggy.
Part of me was, when I was playing it, I was like, clearly they made this huge because it's not on the old console, so they don't have to make it smaller. But I was like, did they make it super foggy because they couldn't handle the draw distance or something? Like, there are times when I'm just like, I have no idea where I'm going in there, but I'm getting used to it now. I've adjusted.
Yeah. No, I would agree. There are moments where the openness feels boring. Like, it's open, it's big. I can run over there, or I can jump on a wrecked ship, and I thought that was really cool. And sometimes you find little things to pick up, but for the most part, it's
true. I tracked down most of the Siva cluster things just patrolling for a while. On the second day it was out, I think. That's how I spent my last night with it, for my last hours. So.
Yeah, I like more things to collect, and so when there were more ghosts to collect in private matches, when there were more ghosts or Siva clusters to collect, and I don't think they've all been found quite yet.
I'm sure there's probably like 3 of them that are only in the hard raid or something like that, or that you can only get from some super weird Archon's Forge thing, something like that.
Is there a big reward for getting these clusters? Like for calcified fragments, once you got 45, you got a touch of malice.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a reward yet, but I'm just assuming that
It'll be part of year 3
fragments. That there will be something.
Okay, I didn't know because the other ones were calcified fragments were 45. You get the gun, and then the last 5 you had to get from that were really hard to get, and then you would get like a ship and shader and stuff that was pretty underwhelming. But
yeah, I never got the last 5 because
neither did I.
Went into hard mode King's Fall even one time.
I'm missing.
You didn't do it once.
I think I'm missing 2 or 3.
I think I entered it once as you guys were leaving the raid. Like I went in because I was like, we're gonna film something, right? And you guys were like, yeah. So I joined your party, and then we left the hard mode raid that you were in. That's it. That was a one-time event in it. I'm sure it's fun.
Yeah, yeah. I only did. I really only did it once.
I got most
twice,
of them.
Or maybe I did King.
I
did hard
2
raid,
or 3 because I did a few of the hard. I don't think I ever. I got orcs on hard, but I didn't get them all. I think I was missing 2 or 3.
Okay.
Just didn't do all of the challenge modes.
I'm gonna get all the Siva clusters. I'm determined. I'm determined to find them all this time. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, if we're talking about patrolling and stuff, what about Archon's Forge, guys?
I really like Archon's Forge, but there are definitely some issues with it now. Like the fact that you can only have one offering at a time is really frustrating.
Stupid.
Yeah, I played maybe half an hour. I think we were running around maybe 20 minutes, but we probably had 8 offerings in that time. Which was lucky. I think a lot of us kept getting drops while we were in there, and I didn't get anything. I got blue engrams. That was it. Didn't get anything above a blue engram.
Yeah, I've used a lot of Archon's Forge offerings and not gotten a whole lot from it. Sorry about my voice, everybody. I was at a wrestling pay-per-view last night, and the Big Show didn't even have the guts to show himself for his remarks against Titans. But
because Big Show plays Destiny, right?
Yes, he does. I think he's actually on SmackDown though, not Raw, which is probably why he wasn't there. But still.
I think
it was cowardice.
He was scared.
That 7'2" gigantic gigantic monster of a human was afraid of me.
He was scared.
We issued his warning on Twitter. The Destiny cops did. Yeah. And so
he's on a watch list now.
He is.
Yeah.
He's on a watch list.
My feelings about the Archon's Forge is that it's a little bit paradoxical in the way that they've changed it, because it's basically Court of Oryx.
Oh yeah, I mean, it is.
I like Court of Oryx way more personally.
Me too. It's tight. It's close. It's
my reasons for it are basically I feel like they made changes in Archon's Forge to make the fights less challenging, like mechanically. They're more like just waves of enemies.
Yeah,
and I feel like they did that so that. Because it's hard when you go into Court of Oryx alone to, work together as a team with a bunch of strangers that are in there.
Oh, I've got horror stories.
Yeah, to try to do like a tier 3 with randoms is like impossible. Like, unless they all know what they're doing.
Unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I was trying to rank up Eris just to hopefully get some kind of artifact, and was running it with one random, and threw in a stolen rune. We got the first, whatever it was, down. I don't remember. But the second was the 2 knights that need to get close. You have to get them close to turn off their shields.
Yeah.
He kept distracting one of them and pulling him away. I could have sworn we'd run it together before, like earlier, because we farmed him pretty heavily. And then another guy joined, and I happened to get an antiquated rune filled and dropped that in, and we dropped it instantly. I mean, with minutes to spare. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on.
And so I feel like they made it so it's less...
you jump in and you kill things.
Yeah, you jump in and you kill things. So you don't necessarily need to be working as a very strong unit, or at least not any more strong than in a random strike. But at the same time, they made it... That makes it harder to do anything on your own, like at all, like any offering. I feel like just hordes, waves. That
would be tough to solo. And what I've noticed is every time I've gone around there, and unless I'm playing with anyone, I really don't have a reason to go around there.
Yeah.
But I do notice it's usually busy, and I don't know if that's just because
I've had some good luck getting in with people. I'd say I'm in the minority where I would say I like it just as much as Court of Oryx, because I've had good experiences with it, where I've showed up and like crouched and walked into it slow a couple times, and then found a group, and then was able to do it a lot. But I wish you could keep doing it more consistently rather than just having everybody run out of offerings and then you're done. But I enjoy just the hordes of enemy and enemies.
I'd be fine. Yeah, I'd be fine with the hordes of enemies, but I have the opposite luck of you. Anytime I go, there's nobody there.
Really?
And then if I show up, it's if I see somebody, there's one guy, and then I use an offering, and then we fail, and then the offering's gone, and then that's it.
It definitely needs some perfecting. It needs.
Oh, it feels bugged. When you play it feels bugged, and that's a problem. That gate closes way too quickly and way too early.
Yeah. Yes.
Why? I guess I don't understand.
Why do they discourage somebody showing up to help you in the middle of it?
Yeah,
that's weird.
I loved with Court of Orcs is you could look over and see that people were playing, so you'd run. I would personally run over and help out. You could be a community and play together. And this, it's locked.
Yeah, and so if there's nobody there,
so much for that.
And if there's nobody there, unlike Court of Orcs, you can't just chill. There's nothing really to do around you.
No,
you can go outside and kill enemies, but if you see somebody and they're let's go to the forge together, they're going to load into a separate instance from you, and then you're not going to play with them anyway. So. Yeah. You basically, if I'm driving around, I stop by, I see if there's anybody in there. If there's not, then I leave, which is not. I feel like if everybody's doing that, I'm not going to be very likely to always find somebody. The thing I like about Archon's Forge is you can get out of the map at Archon's Forge.
Ooh, that's the best part. Yeah, you can get out of the map and explore
the upside
and try to get into the raid, which we tried to do, and it did not work.
We spent several hours on the first day. Once we immediately found how to get out of the map on accident.
Yep.
I was just over there jumping in a corner, and I was like, oh, it lights up weird here. And then Will jumped and landed outside the map, and he's like, oh, you can get through right there. And then we spent hours underneath the map just trying to find the raid.
Nice.
For no reason. What are we going to do in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Release it early, get banned or something cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I've never gotten any good rewards at Archon's Forge really either. I think I've gotten a couple class items that were over 365.
Yeah, I keep getting class items, but I want that sweet sniper rifle.
Can you get a sniper from
there's a sweet sniper
Will
rifle.
That's right. Dick.
Looks like a more. It kind of looks like Patience in Time a little bit. Where, kind of.
I don't think I've seen it.
Old camo style. I don't know. That I don't know how to describe it, but it looks really cool.
Yeah. I still. It's weird. Destiny's such a weird game. I don't snipe. I hate sniping, but I'm still I want that gun.
Yeah.
You describe it. I'm like, I'd like to have that just to have it.
Yeah. No, I actually like the stuff that they brought forward, the stuff that's been created. It's really nice to kind of have the full armory. It feels like a lot, most of the guns.
I really like that they brought back a lot of old stuff. That was one of the things I complain about a lot is things getting left behind. So being able to get any class item as a legendary is awesome.
Unless you're a warlock, because all of the year one warlocks or warlock class items, all the bonds were literally the worst bonds ever. They're the most plain. They all of them look like dog collars. So I've been getting tons of those, and I was like, why are they making new designs like this? And then I realized that it was just the old designs from year one. And then
that's awful.
After year one, they realized what they could do with warlock bonds to make them cool, and they started doing all the holographic effects with them. And
those are cool.
But before, it was literally just it's purple and it's an armband. That was your class item.
You play warlock, just be happy with what you get. Come on.
Yeah. But he doesn't want those old crappy,
I don't want the old crappy
style.
ones.
So now he's going to have a harder time getting the flashier bonds.
It is nice, though, because it makes it really easy to dismantle them, because you're
they look awful.
This is awful.
Oh, there are too many things. My vault is completely full.
Yep, mine as well.
I really need to go through and just clean it out, but the rolls early on, it was that's high blue. Great.
I better save that. Save it. Something later.
And then I'm pretty regularly realizing I don't want to touch those, because if I jump on any other character, I'm gonna be fine, because the rolls are pretty decent. And I did feel that the grind has been a little slower.
Oh my goodness, it's so slow. I mean,
well, I don't know. I guess as someone who I grinded up the fastest, I must be randomly lucky with grinding too, because I was grinding up somebody else, not signed on someone else's account to grind them up when we were raiding.
I know nothing.
Yeah, and I think Jason was 359, and I was playing as Sean, who was 356, and I got to 363 by the time Jason got to like 361. Like, I don't know if I'm just really good at grinding.
It could be.
Somehow.
It could just be luck.
You're really good at RNG. You know how to roll those
I don't
dice.
know what it is. But yeah, I think that the grind is really fast up to 365 personally.
My thing about the grind is, I mean, I think about all the hours I played. Yeah, and I grinded up to 365 by the time the raid came out. But we had to cheese grinding up by doing Omnigul, basically.
It sounds like most people have.
Yeah, and like, and I think they would have. I think they would have avoided that. For some people, if they would have just pushed the raid back, where you didn't have to be as high light right away. But
well, push it back a week. Give more people a chance to.
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't necessarily think the grind is that bad, but the only thing that makes it seem like it's bad is because there was a task everybody wanted to do immediately that you had like 4 days to get ready for.
Well, yeah, and you could it opened at. I mean, you could get in at what light level? Was it 360, 355?
You can get
I don't know.
Yeah,
was it 350? Okay,
I don't know.
So you can get in, but
you're not going to make it much further.
No,
you could maybe, if you were really good, pull off the moving thing of death, whatever.
The Zamboni.
The Zamboni.
Yeah, there we go. You could maybe pull that off at a low light.
That'd be so hard.
It'd be really hard.
You'd be getting one shot sniped, I feel like, from some of those Vandals.
I mean, if you had like a really good layout and you were really skilled, but I don't think you could make it through like Axis.
No.
At once.
No, but you could definitely. Yeah. I think anyone could figure out that first.
The very first
the energy and
the
all
door,
that.
Opening the door, I think anybody, pretty much any light you could.
Well, and you'd get a chest for that, and that's going to boost your light. And I was talking to someone today, and I thought, I'm at 367, and pretty. I'm happy with my setup, which is nice. But jumping back in the raid at this point, which I know we're going to talk about here in just a moment. I feel like I would just want to grind those first two to get items and get things to gradually work my way up, closer to 370, maybe 375 to really have a chance at access.
370 is right at the point where people of our skill level would probably have a chance.
Yeah, you could run. I mean, you could run the whole thing if you're all really good at 365.
I'm sure there's people who can do it all in like all green armor and good for you guys.
Exists, but if
people can 2-man it in the 380s, then we should be able to do it with 6 people in the 360s.
But nope.
No, not at all.
No, I'm not me. I'm not one of those players.
No, not at all.
We are mediocre at best.
Yeah, I did a lot of grinding. I'm at 368 now. I don't know.
How many hours did you play from Tuesday to Friday? Because on Tuesday you played 20 hours.
I did.
You played 20 hours on the first day.
That's a true grind.
Let's think. Raid day, I spent the entire day playing too, because I grinded Sean up and I played on myself, and then we raided for 6 hours. So I'd say I've probably put in at least a full 50 hours, I feel like, in the last.
Well, and I would say the people who were, in the 370s, and there were some on 380s on raid day that they probably did the same exact thing, and they were probably. I get it.
They were probably much smarter with the way they played too, because
probably saved exotics and things like that.
Saving exotics would have been the smartest move.
Oh yeah,
because those. If you would save all exotics you got until you hit 365, you could jump up pretty quickly.
A lot quicker than...
I have absolutely no patience for that.
Oh,
I know.
I've got it, and it's just burning a hole.
If there's new gear,
vault.
You got to get it.
Yeah,
I need it. I need it.
I decrypted everything I had in my vault as soon as Rise of Iron dropped.
As soon as it dropped,
I understand.
My favorite thing was got an exotic for hunter gloves, or for gloves, for gauntlets, and went and decrypted them, and they were Khepri's Sting, which was the last thing I needed to finish the hunter armory from year 2. So it felt so good to finally have
precious.
That. And they were instantly infused, but I'm never ever going to use those. But I had them. They were mine.
You could buy them back if you wanted.
Exactly. That's why they were infusion
I think
fodder.
I think I know why it doesn't feel like as much of a grind to me, and that's because when Rise of Iron dropped, I was like 317 was my level, so I jumped from 317 to 368 over the course of like a week. So I'm like, all right, that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. But
yeah,
I think I like it up to 365 for sure, because just doing heroic strikes, you always get gear that's higher than your light, like always.
I will say the heroics are fun.
Yes,
it's
Arc
great.
Burn is a real nightmare to do the
Arc
first
Burn was a
week. If you don't have a Zalo, like that's
Lord.
like impossible. I feel.
Well, if you were running with, I had groups that were running with 2 people full on Arc, and 1 person that maybe had a secondary Arc or maybe a heavy Arc, but didn't have a Zalo. It was still tough.
Yeah, because like
you need Zalo for
every
that
time
run.
you load in, you get Omnigol or Fallen Saber,
350,
and then you're just getting arced to death.
Or you just don't ever do those two because
quit.
those are awful and terrible.
Quit until you get Valus, and then just move on.
But they added
Shield Bros were fine. Shield Bros were fine.
Yeah, Shield Bros.
Unless
That's
Mega
another good one.
Blastoise gets you anywhere near his little circle of death.
Yeah,
that's true. And some of those are Arc, which is funny because I got hit by one and it said Arc, and I got hit by another one and it said Solar. I thought that was really weird. I had never seen that before, but something was throwing Arc. Something was throwing Arc in there, but I'd been killed by his blast.
All Scions.
Yeah, Scions are pretty rough.
Arc.
My guess is I got hit by a Scion and at the same time.
And like the John Cena hit, maybe.
That's fire.
That's Solar.
Yeah, that'd be Solar.
But
the cannon guy is all Arc.
See, that's what I thought. Someone told me he wasn't.
That person's a liar.
In game told me he wasn't. Oh, we don't have to worry about him.
Idiot.
I assume that most people.
I mean, really, he rarely hits you if you keep moving.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
If you get distracted for a second now, like you're dead if you're anywhere near that thing.
Yeah, I really liked that they recently added in the Taken, or I guess April update, I think is when it happened. But when they added the burns to the weekly strike playlist, that really made them a lot more fun.
You have to strategize. You have to play different. You
get to use different guns.
Unless you have the same, you have one roll, like you have 3 different rolls of 1,000-yard stare, and that's all
they're
you're
all
using.
the same burn.
But
that's no fun.
But no, I've really enjoyed the strikes, and I enjoy that there are more options. It still feels like I'm not getting as many options as I should
for strikes.
I wish that I like the new strike, but when I loaded into heroic strikes, I played like 20 hours of strikes probably. I've gotten the new strike once in the playlist.
That's so weird because
one time.
I've gotten
not Sepix perfected, but
I've never gotten Sepix perfected in the strike playlist.
Oh
I
my
don't
goodness.
think. I've gotten Fogoth twice.
Yeah.
The new Fogoth, and I've gotten Pyramid Head once. And other than that, it's all Valus.
You and I were playing, and how many times did we run?
Yeah, we got
old Pyramid Head,
Pyramid
Priest.
Head. Stranger Things monster.
Yeah.
Well, the
jealous
Demigorgon, mixed with
I never
Silent
got
Hill.
Fogoth though.
I did once.
His gear's bugged and doesn't drop at 365.
Oh right.
So I think
so you wanted to quit.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't want
run
that
it.
one.
No, but I use my skeleton key on him. I really like his arms.
Yeah, his arms are really cool.
I noticed that too. It just doesn't feel like we're.
I wish you could like vote or
that'd be great.
Veto if it's the same one again. Like if they.
You should never.
Yeah.
I feel like if you.
There's so many.
If you're
strikes,
in a group of 2 or more.
Yeah.
2 or 3, you should never get the same strike twice.
I agree. I think
that's ridiculous that you would get the same strike twice.
You should not get one within 2 of at least, because there's like 10 strikes at least.
And I would say more often I'm running with just one other person, and so we're picking up randoms, and we can usually do all right.
Yeah.
And I get the same strike in a row or in every other so many times.
Often. As long as it's Taniks, I won't complain if it's Taniks.
I won't complain if it's, I'll never complain if it's Taniks.
No,
that's
Taniks
a fun strike.
It's the best strike in the game.
Yeah,
it has everything.
Fight me in real life if you disagree.
Yeah, that's.
I will never
Taniks
get tired of that strike.
The best. So
I want more Varix in my ear all the time. That's the only reason I play Prison of Elders and Challenge of Elders, so I can talk to Varix a little bit.
Since we're talking about strikes, how do you guys like the new strike? And the changed
I love
old
the new
ones.
I love the new strike. I think. Well, I'll say this. I like the
parts
boss.
of it.
I
love the boss. You really have to. He changes, and I feel like. I mean, even if you talk about Taniks, it's pretty much the same boss. He's shooting at you alone, and then he's shooting at you with other people around.
Yeah.
Where that boss has it feels like he's strategizing against you while you play.
Oh yeah,
and you have to worry about the baby Fogoth or whatever we're calling him, and you almost have to play it. One person runs around
like
distracting him. Is the wrangler, while the two others are DPSing the boss. I love that. I think that's so cool because if he locks onto someone else, now you have to rotate, and it really. Every time we played in a fire team and we were chatting with each other, it was so much easier than playing with randoms.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about Destiny in general is it's one of the only first-person shooters that I've played with like boss fights that have actual like mechanics and strategy to them and aren't just like I'm going to crouch behind this one wall and shoot at you. I mean, there are bosses like that.
They used to all be like that back in vanilla.
That's why I like it now, I should say, is they've added a lot more things that you really have to think about and work as a team on, and that's why I really like the new Strike 2, as annoying and hard as it is at times. Like,
I do just want to say the only thing that brings terror into my heart while playing that Strike is when someone yells out Skyshanks.
Skyshanks. No.
Oh, on Arcburn. It'll be way easier once that is off.
The bane of my existence.
That is rough because you're going and you're like, this is awesome. We've got a good team. And then someone yells out Skyshanks. And it's usually they die. Oh, yeah. And then yell out Skyshanks.
Yep. Have you beaten the Nightfall? Since it's the Nightfall.
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah.
That's like the experience with the Nightfall is it's made it so when I'm playing that Strike, I'm just constantly watching my radar once he's at enough damage and just looking for when they're gonna pop
just
up.
Looking around. You have to hit them early.
Exactly.
You have to hit them early.
In the Nightfall, I don't think we do is as soon as they show up, everybody is doing nothing but shooting them out of the sky before they can move.
Yeah.
Like. Oh, it's horrible.
Well, and they're fantastic, and so then when they show up in the raid, it's like, come on, Skyshanks,
Skyshanks. Oh no.
But no, I really like it. I actually enjoy that there's like a depth to it. Like when you're running around, you're hitting nodes, and you're like, okay, great, I'm hitting nodes, and then all of a sudden you're jumping around, and you've got to kind of find your way to hit these nodes, and you're going up and you're going down, and not gonna lie, I've been lost a few times running around in there, and I think that's cool. Or I run into a room and I've been here before. This is, I need to go back down.
I mean, I've only played it like twice. So
it's a nice change of pace from the other. Different. I'm not gonna say I love it, the first part of it, but it's a
boss
good
battle.
It's a good change of pace, and the boss battle really makes it for me. Like Taniks is my favorite boss, obviously, but other than that, Darkblade was my number one, and then
just because you're fighting in the dark, I love that mechanic.
I do like
it. Yeah, I love the boss fight there, and now this one rivals the Darkblade one for me. I
really enjoy the Sepix Perfected.
Yeah.
Not just for the music. I mean, obviously for the music, but that it has just a tiny little hint of strategy with the cannons and which preps you for the raid. Like I didn't realize it, but it preps you for the raid.
It's like what games are supposed to do. They teach you mechanics before you hit the next level.
So cool.
Sepix was the original Strike. It was in the beta, and people were like, yes, this game's gonna be awesome. And then when vanilla came out, everyone realized, oh crap, Sepix, that was the best thing in vanilla, was that. And the Vault of Glass was really good, but
Vault of
vanilla Destiny was very bare, and Sepix was one of the only redeeming factors, really, was that Strike was just so good, and now it's back, and it's just a great Strike design.
I will say the Fallen Walker is a pushover now. And I feel like early on, even in early year 2, when you were still getting that Strike occasionally, not often, but you could still run it, that it was... The Fallen Walker was always a place where if you did something stupid, you were dead.
Yeah, that was hard.
And now I feel like you can just stick back and hit him with some snipers, hit him with some sleeper, and he's gone.
Hit him high, hit him low.
It's not a slow Strike.
They did patch one of my favorite cheese spot for Sepix, though. There was this little area where you could snipe him and not hit Sepix, the tank, but you could snipe the tank and not die from anything. But they put a nice snowbank in there now.
Nice.
So
they know.
They knew
They
it.
know.
Of course.
Well, that's like some of the new Grimoire has a lot of things that we do as Guardians now built into it. Like there's a transmission from Cade in one of them, and he says something about people always standing on his table, and I love it. It's just we've you know, people on Reddit are saying we've created our own lore, which I think is it's just really cool.
It's kind of like really cool. The loot cave spot.
Yeah, and that when you go and you
disturb the remains.
Yeah,
in the loot cave.
A million deaths is not enough for Master Raoul.
I love it. I love little things like that. When they, you know, they put a snowbank there, not just take it away like you can't cheese it anymore. Like if you go there, you die. It's no, you can't even look at this spot. Yeah. It's a snowbank.
It's kind of like, I don't know. It makes it seem like they're like, all right, we're in on it. We get it. Like not like they hate us for finding ways around, but it's just kind of like they're making fun of themselves a little bit.
Bungie's a great game company, in my opinion. They just listen to the community. They're involve us with so much.
Yeah. A lot of companies
has made Destiny a game that I love, you know, and so.
Do you like Destiny?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We're all getting matching Jade Rabbit tattoos, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I told you I'm getting a Taniks tattoo. Yeah. It's going to be him holding like a homeless man sign. It's going to be great.
That'd be fantastic. Well, let's talk about this raid.
Let's talk raid.
The new raid.
We went in, live streamed it.
Sorry, I'm just tired thinking about how much grinding and stuff beforehand and how long we spent playing. Our stream is over 6 hours.
Yeah, that was long.
I did not realize that long.
No, going in, I was thinking, you know, someone beat it in around 2 hours. Like World First was around 2 hours. So maybe take us 3-4 hours. Like, I'm a very optimistic person.
Yeah, apparently.
And no, not even close. Because we did go. We went in totally blind.
We did,
and I think I really enjoyed
to look
that.
Anything up when
none of us looked anything up. Yeah. I wanted to know all about the story.
Yeah,
which I'll talk about here in a second. But I wanted to know about the story, and as soon as I think it was Kyle. I think you invited me to the raid because you said Dane, one of the other members, had to drop out. I said, yeah, I'll join, and so I stopped looking for anything.
Yeah,
my phone was in hand.
You said I want to look up the raid stuff. I said you can do that, and you can't.
And you can't raid with us anymore. I really wasn't looking for strats. I just wanted the story. I wanted to know what the bad guy was. But
get strats.
Well, was this your first raid going in blind?
This was my first raid going in blind.
What was your? Did you like going in blind? Would you do it again?
I enjoyed it. And it helped that it's we run with a good group of guys. I would say
we're not complete idiots.
We're not complete idiots. And we're usually pretty cordial to each other.
Yeah.
When we have to take things seriously, I was impressed for 6 hours that no one really went off on each other.
I was really surprised.
It was
because there were moments where I was just any of us. It wasn't any one particular person. I'm just
the fact that it was
I died
2 a.m.
Yeah, it was 2 in the morning, and after
3 a.m.
Yeah,
and then
it crept up on 4.
We're just when
you keep wiping at the same spots over and over again. Eventually, you assume someone's gonna snap.
Well, and the best thing is we really as we were going through Axis in particular, everyone died.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't one or two people or one or two
every single time we ran it. It was just
someone died.
There was always one point. Okay, wait for it. Guardian down. There it is.
There it is. Like, I'm feeling confident this run. I'm like, all right. Everything's going smooth.
But
it
was never one person's fault. Like I think that was the good thing. We were all pretty equal.
These two people.
Oh yeah.
It was never ever.
Scott and I, left side strong.
Left side, strong side. We had it on point, and right side probably messed up the most. But
well, I think you did. Well, Will's the lowest light, so it's probably his fault.
No, honestly, I probably died before him more.
Well, it's his job to defend you.
But it was his job. He was defender. So. It was his job. No, I did have. So to answer your question, Kyle, I really enjoyed going in blind. I feel like I would have really enjoyed going into Vault of Glass blind.
Oh yeah.
I don't know so much about Crota's End.
I went in blind for Crota's End, and it was dumb.
I feel like it'd be.
I can tell you from experience, you wouldn't have enjoyed going into King's Fall blind.
That
was a rough one.
We did okay, but my favorite. I really love going into the raids blind. I really look forward to it. And so I think it's a blast. Sometimes people get on each other's nerves and stuff because you are trying to figure something out as a group, and it's the hardest content. It's end game content, so it's difficult. so people screw up.
I just can't imagine that figuring out King's Fall blind. Some of those things just don't sound.
It was crazy.
Could not have been
the
fun.
War Priest was nuts. Like we somehow got it to work, but we were like wrong about the mechanic when we were doing it. But we somehow got it to work, and then later we just realized it wasn't. Like I don't know, but
but everything in this one, I felt it was a puzzle. We put it together, and it felt good.
I think what's better about this one is that the challenge really did come from just the puzzle aspect and not so much having to do enough damage at certain phases. Like during King's Fall, we struggled to know if we were doing the correct thing because there are parts where it's literally just like you have to do enough damage here.
We were you're stressing so much about doing enough damage.
And your gear is important, and that's I think that's one of the reasons that on LFG sites that gear became so important that it became a joke. I mean, you need Gallarhorn 330, all that stuff,
and that's how Crota was like that as well, because you had to have Gallarhorn rockets. Like you had to be able to take down Crota's shield. Like that was crazy. This raid has the best mechanics.
Well, we were running so many different Guardians and so many different supers. Stormcaller, like really.
This is
really
the first raid where I felt like Warlocks had a great place,
which
for
is
it
ironic since the world's first didn't have any Warlocks on the
team,
right?
I
mean, there's plenty of other subclasses that can do just as well, but clearly. The fact that like. In King's Fall, like being a warlock,
I felt
nobody really
every super we had came in handy at some point,
I agree.
And I could imagine Blade Dancer even would be beneficial.
I can't imagine Blade Dancer being good in PvE and any. I love Blade Dancer for PvP. That's my favorite.
Well, I would never play it. I'm just saying there's someone out there who could use it and probably help. And I'm not going to be that person to try it, but
we'll be the first group to do it with all
Blade Dancer raid. Let's do this. We'll call ourselves the Raid Dancers.
The Raid Dancers. There it is. No, I really enjoyed going in blind. I really enjoyed solving the puzzles, and we're not going to spoil any of the puzzles for you here, but there were.
I think we could.
You think so?
I want to talk about the mechanics of the raid because they were.
But that's not. I don't know that that's a spoiler.
Well,
I mean, we can talk about playing basketball.
I think anyone who's listening to this, we'll just say right now, turn it off if you don't want spoilers.
Okay, all right.
We live streamed it, so our channel already has all the spoilers on it.
That's true. That's true. No, let's kind of walk through it then. Okay. I think that's the best way to do it. I will say, I wanted story.
I agree.
Oh yeah, that was the worst part about
There's
the
absolutely
raid,
no
the
story.
bad part.
I don't know what's going on. I'm certain it's in the Grimoire a little bit, but I had no idea. Why are we fighting this guy? Who is this
vastly
guy?
Different than the Taken King, where we were like, okay,
Oryx is there from the first cutscene, and he's the last boss of the DLC.
I love that. But we would walk into rooms and just go, "What is this?
Yeah,
what are we seeing? It's a server farm."
We went into the raid like,
is it Bungie's server farm?
We don't even know why
we make jokes because we have no idea what's going on.
No idea why. We don't even know why we were starting the raid. Really,
Ghost didn't talk once.
Yeah, and he doesn't really usually talk in the raids, but
because he'd give
which I've always disliked.
You don't like that he doesn't talk in the raids?
I feel like he should. There should be some
even just
dialogue,
commentary. I would love commentary. I mean, that's it. I don't need secrets.
As
or
long
anything
as he
like
only
that.
talked at the right when you killed something or beat a phase, I'd be okay with it. Because my favorite thing about the raid is that they give us literally no information, and you just have to figure it out. True. But it's like an old style game where you have no guidance at all.
But the strikes open up with a little bit of story.
Yeah.
Where here's what you're doing, here's why you're doing it, and even just for the raid, I would want something.
Yeah, I don't know if I need story before I go into load into the raid itself, but a mission beforehand would definitely have
that explained it.
Yeah, that was just like, oh, here's this one mission where you do this one thing, and then it sets up the story where you first see Axis at least.
Yeah, I just need a tiny cutscene. It can be a title cutscene.
That's all I'm asking for.
Something where
I need to know why we're going here.
Big Shiro 6 is like, come. Hey, we think the Siva is bad news here, so go and check out the Siva here. That's all I want.
We've noticed unusual amounts of Siva at this location.
Cool. Now
we think we narrowed down the source of the outbreak.
I would love that. That's all I ask for.
And then maybe some little ghost things like like, wow, that boss was bad. After you killed him, like,
yeah, right.
Yeah,
like this is.
Speaking of ghosts, can I point out? I just think I got the Siva infected ghost shell, and if the whole story of this game is that we're trying to stop the Siva outbreak,
why would we
am I
ever
carrying around a piece of Siva with me?
That don't make no sense. Yeah, yeah, like.
Oh, I haven't even seen that one. Is it cool looking?
It's pretty cool.
Maybe Siva will be new subclasses in the future. We will learn how to use it for good. I feel like that's
like
bad,
the whole point of the story.
I know. I don't like it.
You can't use it.
What if
good.
Siva was a new subclass?
I like the really
sounds like a really good way of
elaborate-
getting attacked by Rasputin or something.
I like the fan theory I read that was the Vex are Siva infected fallen from an alternate dimension, like alternate timeline where Siva took over completely, and that the stranger came back in time from that dimension to activate Rasputin to stop Siva from spreading.
That'd be
when the
interesting.
Iron Lords were using it or whatever. It was really weird, but they made some good points about like the similarities in the like really technologically advanced like Axis.
No,
and
I
stuff
like that. And I will say
Vex.
that there were parts of the story, like I said, I like the story of Rise of Iron, and some of it comes from Lord Saladin mentioning things like the Vanguard shouldn't be trusting Rasputin as much as it does, or thinking that he's still a war mind, things like that.
Yeah.
That Saladin says that just make me tell me more. What? And so I
That's
expected
the story of Destiny is just teasing, and you want more.
So much teasing.
well, and I expected that to be part of the raid, but the raid was completely just Siva related, and you walk in, and we start with these energy things that we have to run through, and I was actually surprised how quickly we figured that out.
Yeah, we did do it.
It was pretty quick, yeah.
That was by far like the easiest part.
Yeah.
I don't think we wiped at all, actually.
You can't because it's not a darkness zone.
Yeah, it's not a darkness
which is
zone.
really
That's
weird
right.
that
Yeah.
it starts off not in a darkness.
Well, that's how
Well, I guess
Fault
that's
of
how
Glass
Glass is.
started. Crota doesn't start that way because you just go
just
down.
run
but,
through that nightmare.
And Dreadnought starts. You're not in a darkness zone, maybe. I don't know.
I can't remember. You have to run the relics to the statues or whatever in the beginning.
Yeah, I don't
can't
think
remember if it's darkness
I
or
don't-
not. It's been forever
I don't
since
think
we
so.
died there.
But I like that now, and that's where we first see the cool new mechanic.
Come on and slam.
Oh,
Come on
man,
and
it's
slam.
so awesome.
And
Throwing
welcome
those.
to the jam.
We
So
play
much
Space
fun.
Jam. We play Space Jam. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
It's so cool. Everyone turns into warlocks, basically. Void
Just void bombing away.
warlocks.
I love
throwing
that. I thought
the
that was so cool.
basketballs. It's so fun, and you use it
was
the
fun.
the whole raid, and it's just
It's-
it makes the raid so fun. Like this is such a fun raid compared to, you think about Crota or even Kingsfall. Kingsfall, I think, is really cool because it's like I said grandiose before, but like the huge open spaces in the Dreadnought and you're fighting ginormous Oryx at the end, which is the first time we saw that. That was like a crap your pants moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that this raid. What you said is like the most fun, and I like that because I'm like a traditional gamer style where I would just want my games to be fun. I don't necessarily need like you guys want the story, and I kind of want it, but since I don't pay attention to the story that much anyway, I don't really care. And I think what I like this raid the best, like I like it more than Kingsfall because it's kind of got like those goofy big action moments with like the Death Zamboni and things like that.
So
Oh,
cool.
it's
not taking itself too seriously in a way.
No,
and
it's
I really
it's
like
a
that.
fantastic raid. I love the environment of it. I do just wish, but it's probably the RPG side of me. I just wish there were more. Now I did appreciate the distinct lack of a true jumping puzzle. That was fantastic because I'm the only one who died every time we had to do something jump oriented.
Yeah.
And I was always the one in Kingsfall that was being waited on, no matter what I had equipped, how much agility, nothing. Nope. I'm always the one that just is terrible at it. Awful. Awful.
Understandable.
And so as you're moving through parts, every time I saw jumps, I'm shaking my head. I'm
terrified
that's where I'm going to just upset someone.
Yes.
But it wasn't too bad.
No, it was not. You did not disappoint me at any jumping parts.
Well, there was the one part you came down and you had to show me how to get up to that secret chest.
Up to the secret chest. But that's fine. That was not necessary to progress.
Okay.
So I'm fine with that. So we open up the doors. You have to collect charge running through. I didn't do it. I was just defending one of the points.
I was a defender as well.
I was a runner, and that was awesome. It was it was fun, but it was also stressful because I feel like we weren't spreading out each person's we get.
You guys clearly had no plan.
So it was like I was like in my area having so I'd have to run really far to get one or else I'd die, and but it worked out fine because we eventually got it, but.
So how it works is you collect 4 charges to get maximum charge.
You get 4 charges to get max charge, and then you slam it
on
home.
Any of the points. We decided.
You
guys were all
we
going
had
to the
our
same
own
one.
We had our own designated one.
You came to
slam
mine.
in.
I feel like.
Okay, so do you have to slam?
I was slamming in the middle one.
That was me.
Yeah. Do you have to slam into all 3? It's funny.
Well, I was in the middle. You were defending the middle.
I was defending middle. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So.
No, I've heard some different theories on that.
Whenever one of them got slammed, I noticed my little pole rising up.
Yeah, I think you could only slam them into one. I read that. I think it was today. That people have been experimenting with the mechanics to see what you actually have to do.
So you slam those, and then it spits out your basketballs, and then you just annihilate the boss with the basketballs.
It was awesome.
Yeah, and eventually the basketballs stopped coming. These SIVA charges, they stopped coming, and so then you can DPS them for a little bit. And there were times because there were moments where we were doing that, and we'd run out of charges, and so we'd just be standing there and not shooting while he was still vulnerable.
Yeah, and then we should probably just keep shooting him.
Yeah, but I liked that. I thought that was really cool, and they come back. The SIVA charges come back for everything. They're a mechanic in every element of the raid, which I thought was pretty cool. No, not in the Zamboni.
Yeah,
I take that back.
No basketball playing in the Zamboni.
He was in part 1 and 2 because then you run inside.
Yeah,
right, and mess around with the doors.
So our next phase, after we get in and then you jump around, you get to the room that's filled with the TVs.
Yeah,
which was a cool room.
I thought it was dumb. Like,
you didn't like that part?
Why? Well, no. I liked
monitors?
I liked I liked that boss just fine, but I was like, why are there TVs and why do we have to shoot the TVs dead? Like, it could have been easily recreated with just like little SIVA artifacts or something rather than like monitors.
I kind of like that it's like a technological thing.
Well, and there are secret monitors to be turned on throughout the raid. And
we found one. I found one.
Well, and there are 2 in that server farm.
Those are not the secret ones.
Those aren't part of the secret ones?
Those are not usable. I was right by the second one at one point. I didn't realize it. Is this the secret chest in the first jumping area that Jason found?
There was one in there?
There's one in that area.
So far.
And then there's one after the Death Zamboni. I was looking these up earlier. And
you thought there was one there. You were saying there's got to be one around here.
Yeah, it's like after he goes off the cliff, if you don't fall off with him and you land on the road, you can shoot a piece of debris on the bridge and it opens up and you can find one of those.
That's fantastic. That's cool.
That is cool. And then the 4th, there's one underneath Axis when you beat him. That's number 4 or actually
maybe
probably
5,
number 5, and nobody knows where the other one is.
Number.
Each one
Where's the 5th monitor?
Yeah, that's the secret right now.
Grid. Where is it?
Because there's a chest underneath him or on a platform near him, and you have to activate all 5 to get rid of the laser grids. Somebody's cheesed through the lasers, but you can't open up the chest until all the monitors have been activated anyway.
Interesting.
So it doesn't matter.
Interessante.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool element.
Some people think it's inside the big black anomaly thing in the one room,
the disco room, disco lights room. That's humongous.
Yeah,
right?
Well, it's after you run through the server farms, that actually leads to the exit. There's that big black thing. Yeah, that's in the room. So people think you can get inside of that, and that's where the monitor is.
I see.
If you activate the first 3, apparently Randall the Vandal shows up in the server farm area.
Randall.
So some people think it has something to do with him to open up that thing. I don't know. It's interesting. He might just be an Easter egg.
Because to turn on the lights, you have to kill everything in there.
Is that how it works?
Yep.
Because we did it.
We did it, and then they turned on.
Yeah.
And there's some kind of light in there there are 2 lights, and one's on and one's flickering, and as soon as you kill everything, they both are the same brightness. Okay. And so someone thinks that maybe those lights have something to do with something, but it's really cool that there's still mysteries.
It's fun that there's an actual secret that people might actually solve, and it's not just a chest that doesn't exist in the Vault of Glass raid.
We have to assume.
I'm just assuming this is just a time gated thing. We just have to wait.
It's all time gated.
Great.
Yeah, the fourth gate is a time gate.
The fifth monitor is a time gate.
But let's get back to the actual boss fight.
So second part of Focus.
I liked it because you had to throw the three balls spawned and 3 people had to throw the basketballs at the same time.
Yeah, they don't have to be like exactly at the same time, but we didn't
seemed to help us.
Yeah, we didn't take any chances.
It seemed to help us.
I think you can stagger them just like a little bit because I've watched the video of guys 2-manning it, so obviously they didn't throw them at the exact same time when there's only 2 of them. But it's easiest for us. So we had Kyle, he was our counter for us to make sure we would throw at the exact same
Which is hilarious for my wife and her friends who are downstairs hearing me go 3, 2, 1, throw. 3, 2, 1, it's salsa time!
Oh yeah, that's the appropriate way
it's salsa time.
To cry out when you're gonna fight him. So then you throw those at him.
It took us a long time to figure out the doors.
Yeah,
the little rooms.
Yes,
that we had to run into those rooms. Yeah. And I became the room caller, which was probably the coolest job I've ever had.
Room caller.
Was just you guys are DPSing the boss, and I'm.
You're just running, looking for the room.
Except when you close the door
on
we were.
I got way too overexcited.
I got in, so I'm fine with it.
We all died.
I have a belief that Scott actually put in an extra shot because I hit it once. I hit it once in another room and it didn't shut. And I hit it once in that room and it shut. But the only difference was Scott was in there.
Like a Scott move to me.
It does sound like
but yeah, you guys were all running to it and I just...
sorry guys.
You're just standing outside there and Scott started dancing. It was fantastic.
It was good stuff.
But I love that.
So
there were a lot of random things.
I think we had to hit him with the balls 3 times to get his shield completely gone. And then after every time you hit him with the balls, one of like the 20 monitors behind him lights up. You have to shoot that monitor. If you don't, you wipe.
And we kept forgetting.
We forget that.
Kept forgetting
every
to shoot
single
the monitor.
Yeah, stupid monitor. So you DPS him, and then you have to run to one of the 4 rooms.
Whichever one has lights on. Yeah.
Close the door, and then you won't die.
You won't die.
And then you power move. And just
rinse and
repeat. Is it possible for him to enrage? Like.
Probably.
All right, because we didn't experience any enrages when we were playing.
No, but Axis does. It makes me think that there probably is.
Every raid boss enrages at some point that I've come across.
I just wasn't sure if maybe they just didn't add, because all of the rooms have like actual mechanics where if you don't do it fast enough anyway, you'll die. Like it seems like it's unnecessary when you have
a set amount of tries to use.
Yeah, so you're just wasting your own time if you're not going fast enough.
Yeah, and the only thing we noticed was if we all ran to... How'd it work? If we all ran to different rooms or something that
If we use a room, it's gone, like for good, is what it was. So we ran to different rooms once, and then we ran out of rooms because of that. Like we had 2 of us... We had 2 separate groups at one point.
That's right.
And so we shot both those rooms, and then by like the 3rd round of damage, like we don't have a room we can go to because we've already used them all.
Yeah, and so
that was like
I wonder if you don't do it in 4 runs, if you're out or if it'd start randomly going again.
I don't think it would go again. I think you'd get 4 rounds. And that'd be it, because that's how Axis is. Like you have the 4 pillars you can stand on.
You do, but you don't. What I read, and maybe it was wrong, maybe it's changed. I don't know, but what I read was you get those pillars back, and he enrages, so you can do it in more than 4 turns.
That's weird because War Priest doesn't. You don't get his pillars back. Like you have 4 tries for him.
What I read today. Now again. It could be false.
Hearsay on the internet.
Hearsay on the internet.
They never lie on the internet.
I know.
Let us know in the comments if it's true. Whoa, I don't know.
But after we beat this dude, TV dude.
Yes, TV man.
Basically, it's a Best Buy. It's like you're in a Best Buy electronics section looking at all those TVs. Right?
Yes.
Yep. So. Then we have our first jumping puzzle.
Yeah, which is really not much of a puzzle. It's just go straight, pretty much.
Go straight. Jump on some
There were some
stuff.
offshoots, and we found one of the chests in there.
We did find a chest. Go us.
And that was nice. And then you gradually make it outside.
Mm-hmm.
To the Death Zamboni. That was a genius mechanic in my mind. Whoever came up with like that raid part was just very smart, I think. Having the idea that you have to get past, like you can be on the Death Zamboni, but it's not going to activate, and then it does. You have to use it to plow through parts of the wall.
And then you have to rebuild it because you just plowed it through a wall.
How do you make it plow through? I cannot remember for the life of me what the first...
We just killed like the enemies basically, and then it just starts going. So it's not like as clear as I like it to be, but I like it that
starts going, and then you shoot the cannons and the front off, right?
You shoot the cannons off, you shoot it to like kill it, and then it breaks open so that you can jump back on it. I think it's really cool because it's cool to have something that you need to use, but it's also going to kill you.
Yeah.
And so I thought really that was a neat part. And then
then the second part of that, where you now have to, now that you've wrecked it, you now have to rebuild it.
Yeah, now you have to play Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Yep.
Like it felt very similar to that, where you can't really jump that much and you're just walking and on the path trying to find the shortest way.
And I have heard that this is where warlocks shine. Because if you put on the new Warlock boots that allow you to go faster while crouching, you can get it a little bit farther in that 9 seconds, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. That is pretty
cool. You do the genius 2-man strategy.
Oh, the 2-man strategy is amazing.
Is genius.
It's the one guy he holds the engine part, right? The other guy is Sunbreaker, and he uses the melee to launch him.
He uses the super melee to launch him.
That's great.
And it's
amazing.
like
he sends him perfectly like over all the holes and gets him there like right away.
It's so cool.
That's pretty impressive.
So genius.
I cannot imagine how many hours of failures there were attempting to do that.
And that was the most, I would say that part was in total the most frustrating part.
That was tough.
That was definitely the most frustrating.
Because
you know what to do and you can't do it.
You know exactly what to do.
The things kept rolling down through the holes in the...
which I get why they included
it. The skiff kept killing me.
It was very touchy. It was very it felt very touchy.
That's probably the one that I don't feel like we really figured out the best way to do it.
We got really lucky.
We just got lucky one time, like finally.
I realized what like the parts that I needed to help the most out with as a Stormcaller was wiping those ads, killing those captains is what I focused on, and that seemed to help us.
We kept someone back as a sniper to take care of mines and to take care of
the captain that takes over to
drop down the bridge.
Yeah,
which I thought was smart. I thought that was good, but that made 5 people carrying 3 pieces just a little tough.
It did.
Yeah.
And we got lucky with tethers, we got lucky with bubbles, and it was just I feel like
I really felt
we
like
could go in with a stronger plan.
We really easily could have failed just as easily as beaten at the time we did.
Yeah.
Like,
that was
the only time we got onto the ship, though.
I know. Yeah, we made it, and we were like, "Get it! Go! We got to get the parts to the. Where does this go? I don't know."
I know.
It was awesome.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if it would, once we got them all 3 on there, if it would still time out, because it felt like, as we were walking on, it felt like the same amount of time that it would normally start whiting out.
I think
before we made it.
Maybe it delays a little bit when you get
when it knows you're on. Yeah, like a piece. Okay, now they can have 30 extra seconds or something. Because we were running around.
I had the piece that's like right at the entrance, and I threw that in like immediately. So maybe that gives you a little bit more time. Yeah.
And that was. Cool. It was cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
But again, what is the purpose of I want to know what the purpose of the Death Zamboni is. Who created it? Why it's there?
It's a war machine
to kill us.
Say.
Why is it on a giant wall on rails or whatever?
Who
built a train track up there just for that thing?
Just for it to end, that you then jump off, and that was a cool cinematic.
That was cool.
Could have been done in a cutscene, but I like that it wasn't, because we're watching it and we were all just, oh crap, what's going on?
Wonder if it's. Wonder if it was like a repurposed, like it was an original defense for the wall that the humans made, and then the Fallen just kind of took it over.
I could see that.
I could believe that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So it would have been something that just traveled across the wall and killed everything that would try and get over. But we don't know. There's no story. So
and then we get to the server farm, which was for me my favorite environment.
That was
I really liked it.
Entering the server farm was like the coolest part when it's the gigantic room, like with the black pyramid in the middle or whatever.
So we're past the servers.
Yeah, that was after. That was when you got to access.
You're talking about with just the servers room with Randall Vandal in there.
Yeah, and I just thought that was really cool because it felt clean. It felt untouched. It felt
it's a nice opposite to all of the hive
the outdoor.
Everything's
broken, everything's gross and goopy. This was like clean, very robotic,
orderly, perfect.
Yeah, a little bit of a maze as you're running around, but when you look at it, I have we've looked at the overmap now, and you're going, how could we even get lost in this? It's one direction.
I didn't get very lost.
I accidentally just went straight to the end. I was like, all right, no, I thought maybe I was taking a side path.
I was exploring because I expected more. I did expect a little bit more, but I loved the feel of it. Very kind of dark. Very.
I thought it'd be like the King's
Blade
Fall area, like the maze room in the King's Fall, where there's pits and stuff that you can fall into.
I was expecting something like that too, but
I liked it.
Not much of a maze. Cool. Just kind of.
Are there no Siva fragments in there either? Because I haven't read about them being in there. They weren't on that map that you posted.
Not that And
I thought, like, if anything, that room would be the one where there's one on a server or something.
We didn't find any in the raid.
No, we found one.
That's right. No, you're right. You found one.
We got off of the.
That was a good find with that. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, but what Scott was talking about when you're going down that
so you're through the server farm,
the ginormous black thing that
just
was
a black looks like a black Siva. I mean, it looks just a black diamond.
Huge. It was awesome. That was really cool.
That room, Ooh.
Very
that was
grandiose.
Like something out of a movie, like an old sci-fi movie or novel or something. Like it was.
Reminded me of
the Cell that kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
Reminded me of Oblivion with Tom Cruise. At the end of
you mentioned
thing.
that.
You go up into that.
I would agree with that.
Traveler-esque thing in that movie. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Destiny. That movie's kind of like Destiny.
Interesting.
But
thanks for ruining Destiny for me.
Yeah.
Ruining Destiny.
Now I'm connecting it with Oblivion with Tom Cruise in it,
which is a great movie, and you should love it.
I've never seen it. I can't judge.
It's got its moments.
That's what
it's like Minority Report, where it has its moments, and
I've heard that it's not bad. It's just there's nothing really that unique or interesting about it.
I think it's unique.
The plot, the big ending is predictable.
Yeah,
I thought.
The ending's predictable.
Sure. All right, so let's move on.
So we get to Axis.
You get to
and that wow.
I like the.
I don't know if we were fried.
We were pretty.
We were fried,
but we were just struggling. And when you hit it, I think they should have been upfront with this. But once you hit it, it's 380 recommended light. And I know that if we were not fried, we probably could have done it.
Probably.
We had figured it out at the end, and then we were just too fried.
And then my internet disconnected. So
that was our excuse. Now there goes Scott.
But you do the first portion of him. What I like is that he has like 2 phases, and the first phase teaches you about the next one pretty much.
Yeah, and the one added thing that we couldn't figure out for the longest time in the second part
is the stuns, the overcharge.
Is exactly what you've been doing the whole raid, and how we did not figure that out just really ticks me off, because it becomes a game of Rift again. I mean, it's
Rift. My favorite moment in that last room that we had was when we were the first phase of it, the very end. I had the ball and I had to find the place to throw it, and I couldn't see it, and I found it at the last minute and chucked it, and I hit it, and then we killed. We thought we killed him or something, and
that was a great room because it kept adding on to the mechanics each time. And so every time we thought we had it.
Yeah.
And then we're like, all right, round 2. And we die on round 2. We're like, okay, so they added this thing that we got to worry about.
Yeah.
And so it's describing the mechanics, I guess. It's split into 3 sections, basically. We split 2 people per section, left, middle, right. There is waves of enemies, and then a captain comes out that has either some
sort of cannon,
Scorch, or Knoll cannon. Mm-hmm. You kill him and get his cannon, and once your captain is dead,
you got to run to a different part of the room.
A servitor that can only be killed by one of the cannons appears in each area. Yeah, so you have to kill the servitor with the cannons, and then somebody else has to pick up the ball because you get over
Yeah.
You are overcharged can't even drop the cannon, right?
You can drop it.
You can drop it, but you're still overcharged. You still can't pick up a ball.
I don't remember what it's called. It's like something lockout. I can't remember. Charge lockout. So you can't pick up the ball. Someone else has to throw it. He has little diamonds, and you throw them. I love that. I loved the mechanics in the last room. It just felt very team oriented in every way.
Well, and
it's very easy to get, as opposed to King's Fall, which was like, what the heck are we supposed to do in this?
Very individual based. One person could mess it up and really throw a team.
And King's Fall exactly has the problem in the last room that is you just have to do damage to him at one point, and there's no way to know that you're using the right strategy until you accidentally do enough damage, basically. You can't really figure it out if you're too low of like what you're doing wrong. I don't like that mechanic in things.
Yeah, and that's what I heard about this second round is that the DPS doesn't matter. You'll just enrage him, and it makes it a little bit tougher. But you don't basically clock out. You don't run out of time just because you lose your platforms. I don't know how it works. Because I didn't read the whole thing. I thought
I haven't read either.
We'll be able to do it next time we run.
Yeah.
But it's very team oriented, and I felt like we could have run. We basically ran 2-man teams at the beginning, and so there were parts where we were just okay, we'll keep these same teams because they work, and that preps you for the second half of Axis that really changes. It's the same. Yeah. It's the same, but it adds on to it in just a way that we were not expecting. No. And that's why it took us forever to even come close to figuring it out.
It adds in a new buff like that you don't know what is going on with
that.
Empowered.
Yeah. And I don't know. It just adds in a bunch of enemies, more sky shanks.
It was hard to figure out how to progress. Yeah. We couldn't figure out how to get to like the next part of it.
Because we could get his shields down. I mean, it was hard, and it took us like a million wipes to get his shields all the way down.
But once we did, and we looked at what we'd done no damage.
Yeah. And
absolutely no damage.
He immediately like disappears. Like, he teleports around the room or whatever, and then you hit him with all the balls, and he teleports somewhere else, and he's weak, and you can see now you can hurt him, but then he immediately goes back, and we're like, well, what the hell do we do?
Yeah, and so the trick is 3 people of your 6-man team become empowered. And we were all calling it out. We were all letting everyone know who was empowered.
Even though we didn't know what it did.
We didn't know what it meant. We just knew this is something we need to call out.
We thought maybe they had to throw the balls, the clusters at one point.
It turns out it sounds like it doesn't mean anything.
No, not for that part, no.
But once you've thrown all the balls, all empowered people have to be at one of the 3 corners, basically, of the room.
Yeah, you're going to want somebody at all of them.
Because when he lands, you jump up and you slam his back.
Yes, you do to him what you did to the gates in the very beginning section that we forgot about because it had been 6
And then
hours.
he goes somewhere else, and the empowerment changes each time.
So you have to communicate. Yeah. We didn't get to that point.
We didn't get that far.
We only slammed him, I think, one time total. We thought maybe somebody who was empowered had to do something to him because we noticed that there was the Axis stuns 0 or whatever, so we're like, maybe the empowered person has to do something.
We didn't know.
We just kept. It took us like another hour after realizing that to actually get to try it.
It wasn't until we saw it, like Jason was able to jump on him, not empowered.
Yeah.
And I was watching the stream. No, he did it. Jason did it first because I was watching the stream. I was like, that looks like something that you like slam or something. And then Will did it, and he thought he was empowered.
He thought he was empowered.
And he's like, wait, I don't think I'm empowered.
Yeah, he almost sabotaged everything by being like, I couldn't do anything. And
it was rough. And
so you have to discharge into him 3 times, and then he teleports like one last time,
and you can
actually do damage to him then.
And that's just, I mean, 3 rounds of calling out I'm empowered and being in the right spot.
I think it's just gonna have to be when we get to it. It's literally just if you're close to him and you're empowered, you go for it.
Of course. But there were moments where, I mean, for example, Will didn't know he wasn't empowered. He thought he was, and I think that's because we had played so long that empowerment now meant nothing.
Yeah, it was
we were getting it or not getting it or getting it or not getting it.
You stop paying attention to it when you stop. When you aren't reaching the phase that you can actually use it. Yeah, it was. We definitely went through the classic video game too long progression of you you get better and then you get way worse. And you start getting better again.
And groups that twitch and do all of those things, you hear them use the word tilt. Where groups start to tilt and you can just feel that like, oh, they're not working together.
Yeah.
I never felt that we fully tilted.
Yeah.
But there was a moment where I think all of us went from like 100% to just 80.
Yeah.
And even that, it was like the caffeine wore off. The night just kicked in. The eyes started to burn.
You start reaching the point where like you look at the clock and you're like, I really don't think we're going to do this, but I don't want to be the one who...
You don't want to be the one
we
who
all
says,
wanted it. We were close, but we weren't putting the effort in.
No.
Needed.
I mean, there was
I was on autopilot mode doing it.
There was one round where I think Will turned around and I didn't know we'd started. I'd like dozed off and he's like, I think Tyler fell asleep. He's not there. And I honestly was like, nope, I'm good. I'm here.
Wake.
I'm awake. What are you talking about? I was checking my inventory.
Yeah. God, duh.
Solar right.
But there weren't 3 dots above your head. What are you talking about?
No. My guardian knew I was sleeping.
Yes.
But it's a fun raid, and I'm really excited to finish it.
Well,
and
I just want to real quick. I want to say my favorite moment was when the first time we got access down, and then he teleported back and started doing his big Siva discharge, and you have to jump on the pillars to stay alive, and we just perfectly, of course, jumped on all four
pillars. Yeah.
We were not getting them back.
We used all 4 at once. All right, perfect.
There it is.
Good job, team.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was
just looking
fantastic.
across. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these are all gone.
This
now.
is good.
Yeah.
It's
a great raid. I'm really excited to finish it. I think our goal for the next week or so is to get closer to all get around 370 or above, and I would not be surprised if next weekend we take it down.
I think so for sure. We can.
We will run through those first 2 portions so quickly.
Yes, as long as we can remember the TVs. I think we'll be good.
TVs, dang it.
Where do you guys place this raid? On which one is your favorite raid? When
I've played.
Place?
I'll be honest, because I've only played Vault of Glass half of the way through, and that was because a clan was running it, and I'd posted an LFG to get No Time to Explain, and I said. I messaged them, do you have room for a 6 just so I can beat Atheon? And they said, we just started Atheon, jump on in. They said just started Atheon. They were a little bit before Atheon.
Gotcha.
But I want to go back and rerun that one because it would be brand new mostly for me.
Hopefully they bring it up.
Crota's End we did in 20 minutes.
Crota's End is definitely the worst raid.
I had no love for it. I loved the atmosphere of
Crota's
King's
End
Fall.
doesn't even feel like a raid to me.
It felt like a strike.
At
the light that I was at, it felt like a strike. And I think that's unfair because...
Crota was just the biggest cheese raid. Every part of it was a cheese. You cheesed every single part of it. And it was just... I probably spent the most time playing Crota because it was all at the Dark Below, there was a huge gap in time between that and House of Wolves. And and it just was... Crota was such a frustrating boss because it was so glitchy. Every time we would die because of a glitch, not because we were bad. So Crota is definitely the worst in my book.
And maybe it's again personally because I didn't play a lot of those early on because I joined right at the end of year 1.
Same.
And so you guys had all done a lot of stuff, and when I got to the point where those quests were on there, or nobody wanted to raid anymore, and I have no animosity over that because now I've run them all, and most you guys came back and did them, or I was able to join in with a group and say, guys, I've never done this, and I found really friendly groups for the most part.
Yeah, as a year 1 player,
but I loved this raid. I really did.
I'll rate them for myself before Kyle goes into his year 1 player spiel.
I think that's fair.
As someone like Tyler, I have played all the raids all the way through just because when I joined later, I think you got it on PS3 first.
I had it on PS4 first.
PS4,
and I did play.
PS4.
Because I'm terrible at this.
Yeah,
I did buy The Dark Below and House of Wolves for PS4 and played. Never even attempted raids. I was a solo player, and so it wasn't until really the Destiny Collector's Edition, all the stuff came out, that's when I switched over.
Gotcha. So I jumped in a little bit after Tyler started playing probably, but I actually got it on Xbox One, which is where you all had it. So you did go back and you played the raids with me. Just so I could experience them when I first started playing, because you all wanted me to like Destiny, basically.
Yeah.
And I really didn't enjoy either of the first 2 raids at all, and only because everybody else knew exactly what they were doing, and I had no idea what the hell was happening like the whole time. So I mean, I know Vault of Glass is good, and I like Vault of Glass now that I understand a little bit more.
If you are the 6th, person in Vault of Glass who doesn't really know what's going on, it's hard to know what the heck's going on.
Well, they're just run around this, do this. I mean,
you guys are just telling me
this is your role. You're doing it. There's no reason for you to understand our role.
I don't understand the mechanics of Vault of Glass really still. I'm just like, all right, cool.
Well, and you need to run that quest, don't you?
Yeah, I need to do that.
That's something that needs to happen this week.
I agree. We really should. Can we 3-man it? 3-man it right here.
Vault of Glass?
Yeah.
We 5.
Sure.
When I ran it with that group, someone dropped after I joined, and we 5-manned it.
I mean, now how over-leveled are we for Vault of Glass?
We will. Yeah. We'll run through that in 30 minutes.
So it was, that one's better than Crota's End still.
Oh, yeah.
Crota's End, I understood what I was doing more, but that's only because we were cheesing it, and I understand jump in this area to glitch out the game more than I understand.
That's your game right there.
More than I understand, take this thing to get on Mars, and then if you're there, call it out so we know which thing to shoot here. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But so neither of those are in my top, but it goes Crota's End, Vault of Glass, King's Fall, Wrath of the Machine for me. And I think
you place it on top?
I do. I think King's Fall and Wrath of the Machine are both great, and I really enjoyed playing them both after having more experience with the game and figuring it out. But because of the things I mentioned earlier, like damage really locking you out from knowing if you've solved what to do, it puts King's Fall a little bit beneath for me. Whereas Wrath of the Machine, I knew when we had figured out what to do, and then it was just actually doing it was the only problem.
And I can totally see once we're high enough light, running Wrath of the Machine will not take long at all.
No.
And I love that it will be like an extended strike, which when I think replayability, I'm more likely to jump into a raid that, one, I know the mechanics of kind of right off the bat. It seemed like there were really only a few ways to do things, so it's not as though are we running this 4 and 4 or 6, things like for Oryx. I will be more likely to jump in on a pickup raid for Wrath of the Machine than I will ever be for King's Fall, because if you have 1 or 2 people who just absolutely suck, it's harder to Sherpa them than it is to... Then what I think, it will be so fast. Hey, you want to run King's Fall? And we'll probably be doing it in under an hour.
Yeah, Wrath of the Machine,
Wrath of the Machine, excuse me,
All right, now Kyle, as a year 1 player, where do you rank the raids?
Crota's End obviously is the bottom for me. Huge jump up from that is King's Fall is my number 3 spot. And then a little bit higher is... I put Wrath of the Machine at number 2 because Vault of Glass is my favorite raid. I think the mechanics are great in Vault of Glass. I love the lore behind Vault of Glass is my favorite out of all of them.
There's much more story in that.
The mystery of the Vault of Glass it's outside of time, that Guardians would go in and you'd not know when they would be coming out, kind of thing. They could be in there for an eternity and they would think it's a second, kind of thing. Atheon being the time gate lord thing of the Vex, kind of orchestrating everything. I love that boss, but also the Vault of Glass, it was just so interesting because it was just so, what is it? Nobody knows. You could go in there,
but it has lore behind it at the same time. It's a question.
It was
but
the perfect balance of not knowing anything about it, but that's what the lore was. Is that it's crazy. And so the year 1 part of it first off, the the Vault of Glass was by far the longest raid. It took the first group to go through 14 hours to finish the Vault of Glass. Crota's End was, I think, 4. I think King's Fall was 4. This one was 2.
Yeah.
But now, is part of that people just getting a little bit more wise to how Bungie designs its raids?
No, it's part of it.
It's a shorter raid.
Part of it is that Bungie has gotten better at not being so glitchy with stuff, because the Atheon's fight in the Vault of Glass in the beginning was pretty glitchy. There were things that could go wrong through the teleporters and stuff, but the mechanics at Atheon were fun. They were crazy, but they were also really, once you understood all of it, you could do well with it. And the one caveat I have,
leaving the legacy consoles behind, is that now it's less glitchy in a raid. I think that's part of it.
Yeah. But the one caveat I have is year one was so different than what we have now in Destiny, because in year one, the best stuff, hands down, that you could get, the highest light gear that you could get, was the raid. It was the raid guns were the best in Vault of Glass. Like, there was no question that you had to run the raid to do these things. So the raid could be bigger, because it wasn't like, do I need to run the raid? I could do Iron Banner, I could do this stuff. No.
Well, and it sounds like, apart from, I think, exotics, that's essentially what will happen when hard mode comes out, is that light jumps from 385 to 400, and that you'll need to run it to continue building.
I don't know if they'll do that. I feel like they've intentionally pivoted away from that, so
you think
that people who play PvP mostly don't feel excluded from hitting higher lights, so that they're not excluded. And
I'd understand that.
I feel like Trials and Iron Banner will always now give you the same level rewards.
You're probably right.
I think it would be interesting if it stayed the way that Kyle's talking, though, where the raid is the definitive way.
And so, like, Vault of Glass is my number one, but I'm saying I don't know if it would fit well now, just because King's Fall is a longer one compared to Wrath of the Machine seems pretty short, and I feel like that's a good thing for a raid, to have a really fun activity, 6 people being a team together. Vault of Glass is really long and really difficult.
How about this question? Not your favorite raid, but what's your favorite raid segment?
Ooh.
What portion of a raid is like, this is my favorite thing to do?
Running the lanterns in Crota's End.
Oh, okay, perfect. I don't even know. Yeah.
The very beginning. It's awful.
Gotcha. I know.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
I think for me, I'd either answer the Dreadnought ships, the jumping puzzle.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Or I really like the Gorgon's Gaze maze.
Gorgon's Gaze, yeah.
I really like
that was one of the things that took the first group so long, is because they thought they had to kill the Gorgons, and like there's no killing the Gorgons, but having to avoid it's a very cool segment of a raid.
Yeah,
that's where I jumped in with that raid party. That's where I jumped
Gorgons,
in, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And of course, I jumped in. I'm like, okay, guys, what's going on? And taken out instantly. Just toast.
I do like the Gorgons, because even as the raid gets lower leveled, the Gorgons are still like hard no matter what. Like you can kill a couple now with swords, but you can't.
Well, and those will be interesting if what happens is what it sounds like will happen, and they'll bring those they'll update the raids, and make them harder.
That would be cool.
Developers at Bungie have already said that that's something they're looking into, and I think that's really neat.
It'll be fun because
there's a reason to rerun them and probably bring up some of the raid.
I think it's absolutely necessary that they keep the raids should
for the next year
move forward.
Yes,
like I feel like the raids they're the most interesting thing to play for PvE.
It's the end game.
It's the end game. Yeah. They should always be relevant. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Man, that's really tough. I liked everything about Wrath of the Machine. Every part felt really cool. It felt tight and controlled, and yet when I was on a team on one side with Will, and you guys were on a team on the opposite side of the room, you were maybe 100 feet away, like in game feet.
Yeah.
But it felt like we were two totally different teams achieving, and I thought that was so cool. I didn't really feel that in King's Fall. It felt like, man, I just suck compared to everyone. And so if one person faltered, I felt like it became really tough.
I think the only part like that I can think of in King's Fall is when you're opening up the door with the where you have to stand and charge the plate in the middle, because you kind of form two little separate squads.
I would agree, and that's probably of that raid, that's probably my favorite part, because you're going back to one and then running to the middle, you're going back to one, it's hard to say that Zamboni isn't really cool.
That's true.
I
expect
really
someone
cool
to pick that part because it is.
That's
really
a
cool.
really cool
My problem
part.
with that part is,
but there's no teamwork other than
you don't get to throw basketballs at that part. And I love doing that so much. So it's hard for me to say that that's my favorite part of Wrath of the Machine.
I think once we get through it, I think probably Axis will be my favorite because it is, and I would take the whole thing because it's really just part 1 and part 2, but you're doing the same thing with an added element at the end.
Agreed.
That once we get that, there will be a lot. You'll just feel so accomplished if you can run through that, and that's going to be the hard thing. That, like I said, I think running through the raid will take less time moving forward. You'll see people, doing it in probably 30, 45 minutes. But what will hold groups back is cooperation at that end.
Yeah,
and you could, but you could run everything else pretty easily.
Yeah, nothing feels like it is hard when I say that now, and then we run it and we'll wipe a bunch. But it seems like all of it would be really easy now that I'm more awake.
We didn't wipe at the opening.
No,
we did not. Maybe
it's because we couldn't.
We couldn't wipe. But
there was no.
There is no wipe. But we didn't really fail at it that much to begin with. Once we split up,
yeah. Once we figured out what was going on, we were able to run it, and I was you're right. You couldn't wipe, and so maybe that's giving it an unfair advantage, but. I think it's a fun raid.
Yes.
And I cannot wait to finish it.
Wrath of the Machine
kind of glad.
is pretty much perfect in my mind, other than the fact that I just don't care about the story of it.
Or the lack of.
Axis. Yeah. Who cares about Crab Man?
I would love some Siva background. The lore of Vault of Glass is so deep. It's forever. It's everywhere, and it's forever, and it's eternal.
And then the other ones were Crota. Crota had a backstory.
They were built into the story.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I like that
we played the story.
Yeah, I like that Crota and Oryx go together.
Because they fit into the story.
I don't like that they were back to back, and it was the same type of enemies.
But let us know in the comments what you think about the raids, because. We are way over time, and there is absolutely no way we're going to talk about our other thing.
Exotics
but thank you
next
for listening.
Week
we will talk about exotics.
The Rise
next
of Iron
week.
Exotics. Are they good? What could be better about them?
What could be better? Yeah. So look forward to that.
Exotics that we
hopefully the next time we talk, we'll be closer to finishing the raid.
Yes.
But Husky Radio, episode 9. Thanks for listening.
Boom.